Hey, hello, friends. Good day. I is still your friend Marcus Ekure. I want to talk about something, that is bothering my mind so much. Yes, a few years ago, I was in a country in the Europe, and I had an encounter, an experience. I was actually being shuffled by a white man for a function, and on a part, a bit of bush part, we the vehicle hit a rodent, a grass cutter. For me, it was an excitement, stemming from the Nigerian experience. I was very excited. I said, wow, a rodent. I said, God has blessed us. And within me, I was thinking of calling a friend or sending a message, a WhatsApp message to my friend to get things ready for a sumptuous meal that God has blessed us with, an animal. And the next thing I saw was the driver. He parked the car, brought out his phone, and put a call through to the police and delayed me for about 35 minutes. And I was like, wow, what's happening? What's going on? He said, no, that's how it's done. And a policeman came in after about 35 minutes. This man was so worried. The white man, he was explaining that it was an accident, it wasn't deliberate, and all that. And the policeman was telling, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. He brought out the form from his car for this man to fill. The man filled the form, his name and everything, his details, and handed the form back to the policeman. And he was taking a photo. It was snapped. There was a camera in front in the dashboard of the policeman's car, so he snapped him before he gave him clearance to continue. And I was surprised. I was so furious that I asked him as we were moving, because the policeman took our grass cutter away in his car. And I was so furious with this man, and I asked him, why would you do that? God just blessed us with that animal, and you called a policeman who was not here to take it away? And the man said, no, that would have been 10 years behind the bars if he had done that. And I told him, in my country, if you hit human beings, you don't stop. And he was like, wow, that's terrible. Now the lesson objective is this. There was nobody anywhere. There was no camera anywhere. And this man could do this. Sometimes we have this mindset and belief that there are cameras everywhere. Well, it's not often so. Yes, there are cameras in some places and all that, but not certainly in a bush part like that. There may not really be camera at that point in time. But I've come to understand that the punitive measures attached to the laws in these developed countries is so weighty, such that this law becomes part of the citizenry, that the consciousness of the punishment they are going to suffer when they commit this offense becomes very strong in them. And as a result of that, they make it a culture and a tradition to avoid such kind of punitive measures. And it becomes part of them. So when a country makes laws, it is not enough. I think it is far more important. The punitive measures, that's the punishments, the implementation of these laws are far more important than even the laws itself. Now let's take Nigeria for instance. In Nigeria, we have beautiful laws. I disagree with anybody who say, yes, the problem we have is laws. We have beautiful laws. But the problem we have is that these laws are not implemented. The problem we have is that there are no punitive measures put in place for offenders, those who break the laws. That's why people don't observe the rule of law. Now, let's take, for instance, there was an experience so many years ago in Rome. A pope by name Formosus, was exhumed after 9 months of interment and was tried. And when he was found guilty of the offense, you know what they did? They tied heavy stone to his corpse and threw him into a lagoon. Now that explains to the common man that if a dead body could be exhumed and tried, then nobody is above the law. So I think the high level of insecurity in Nigeria today, people violating the laws here and there and all that, one of the simplest solutions to it is for us to hold strictly to strong punitive measures to offenders. Let's take a very good example. People do this with relish in Nigeria. We heard some time ago, for instance, in Abraka, where a story, something occurred, an incident where some persons dismembered a first-class girl by name Elozino, and took her liver and all that. We heard that they were apprehended. But we never heard anything about what was done to those people, apart from the one that sustained bullet injury that died in the prison. So many offenses have been committed over time that people don't even, the citizenry do not even get to find out, do not even get to know, the consequences, borne by these people, apprehended, and it is dangerous. If we want to stop kidnapping, if we want to stop, put a check on criminality and even all these whole menace of insecurity and all that kind of thing, we have to strengthen the punitive measures to these laws. It's not enough to make these laws. They say, yes, we've banned, for instance, some states saying they've placed ban on open grazing, Fulani herdsmen and all that kind of stuff. When you catch somebody who breaks the law, punitive measures should be made heavy on the person. I'm not just doing that. The public should have a way of knowing that this is the punishment meant on such a person. But our judiciary system is not even helping the matter. It's not even helping matters in this regard. We have a long trying period in our judiciary system that when offenders are even caught, they have money, they get services of lawyers, SANS and all that, and what you start hearing is the case has been decided in lower court after about 6 months, then the person will appeal. Look at the case of Evans. After that guy has rendered so many lives useless, after the havoc he has committed and all that, Evans is still appealing. They said they sentenced him to death by hanging at the first instance. Now he has appealed, he's still appealing. Don't be surprised. You might just hear at the end of the day that the whole thing has gone into history. Look at the case of this young girl who killed a billionaire recently. I read in the news that she has been released. So there are no punishments, no punitive measures. And that is why these evils keep persisting. Look at kidnapping, for instance. If you say offense, that's punitive measures for kidnapping is death, and when you catch kidnappers, then you execute them, others will take caution. And that's the fastest way to stop all this kind of menace. So I think Nigeria has to wake up. Our government has to wake up and strengthen our punitive measures. When a politician steals money, the same thing the law says should be applicable to him. That's punishment should be applicable to him, or that is applicable to the poor man should be applicable to the rich man too. There's what we call a rule of law. We all know that. And there is nobody that is above this law. So we should strengthen the punitive measures to the laws, the various laws we have in this country. And once that is done, I bet you'll see that crime rate will drastically reduce. And of course, finally, the government has a whole lot of role to play. Now, you have to look at what is the root cause of all these criminalities and all that kind of stuff. Government has so much to do. Now, government should play its own part, because it's not enough for you to just put punitive measures without you doing your primary responsibilities, the things you are supposed to do as a government, put in place and all that. If you don't put all these things, like if government doesn't create atmosphere or enabling environment for businesses to thrive, certainly there's going to be hype in criminality. So government has to balance the equation. It's not just enough to put these punitive measures in place. It's important to do it, but government has to also balance the equation from other ends. I think this is what I want to share with us today. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye till our next broadcast. Marcus Ekure, still your friend.